Hetapu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Qesankh Keperu with another exciting video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about how your past lives affect your present career. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. And if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you're interested in learning more about my spiritual teachings, you can click on any of the links below, download a free ebook, and start reading it today. If you want to follow the rabbit down that rabbit hole and get really deep, then become a Patreon supporter. You can do so for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. You'll get exclusive access to instructional videos on the spiritual. They'll teach you how to properly meditate, how to breathe correctly, different breathing techniques, how to put together a magical amulet, how to contact the ancestors, how to invoke spirits on your behalf and send them out on specific goals for your person, how to work with hypnosis, self-hypnosis, and divination, oracles. And if you are an Asera level supporter, you'll get all your oracle readings for free, as well as I will be prescribing to you mantras that will help you with any situation in your life. So become a Patreon supporter today. You can cancel anytime. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get this revolution started. And every morning I wake up, there's these birds that are outside of my my house, and I step out onto the patio, and they're just going nuts. They're just chirping, singing, and it's kind of cool and everything, but it's loud. I want to like, shut up, birds. And now I can hear them as the sun goes down, and it's really very exotic sounds. I don't know what type of birds they are. I'm going to try and find them, because originally I thought there's like I guess a palm tree or some type of tree next to my window. So originally I thought they had a nest in there, but I couldn't find a nest. So I don't know, maybe that's one for me to do an oracle reading and find out what that means, because the birds are loud. So, you know, so Haru Nefer, sorry, I kind of digressed with that. I want to talk to you today about a very, very important subject, which is reincarnation. And it's something that most Western religions do not advocate and do not believe in. And that is for a specific reason, which I will detail a little later on. But this video is, if you watch this video and really comprehend the information, it will awaken you to a whole new world and understanding of your capabilities and what can be done. When many of you know that when I first started out, I got into being a recruiter, and from there I leapfrogged into being a digital producer or a project manager. And I decided to go the consulting route and not get a permanent job. Sometimes I would jump on a company, and if the offer was good, I would take a permanent job. But most oftentimes, I would be a consultant because it paid more. It allowed me to work, then stop working and travel, have fun, and then if I needed to, come back and consult. And it also gave me the freedom of not being an employee and not being restricted to certain, you know, certain things that most of the employees were. I mean, they had to be there at certain times. As a consultant, I didn't. You know, as long as I got my work done, everything was copacetic. So I decided to be a consultant. Now, that comes with a lot of tricky things, you know what I mean? Because as a consultant, you have to make sure you are an authority on things. People need answers, and they're going to come to you, and you better have answers, you know? So I always tried to understand what I was getting involved with. In other words, usually before you would go to a company, and it's usually an ad agency, you would try to understand the problem. You would have like a Zoom call, and they would explain the situation to you. Now, sometimes they wouldn't reveal the truth of the matter because they didn't want to scare you away. So when you actually got and started working at the company, you realize this is the proverbial shit show, and then you can decide if you want to stay or leave. But when I was a child, I always knew I had a fascination with tech. My father hated anything with tech. He absolutely hated. When he saw us playing Pac-Man and things like that, he got really, really upset. I mean, really, really upset. He didn't like the fact that I was learning to program on the Commodore 64. So, these things bothered him a lot. I don't know why, but these really, really bothered him, right? And then I started getting into things like building clocks and robots and stuff like that, which was my fascination. And then from there, as you know, went on to study the spiritual and the esoteric. But it wasn't until I think it was like maybe my first 6 months as an initiate in priesthood that I discovered who I was in the past life, at least one of my lives, which I found out that I was the famous scientist Benjamin Banneker in my past life. When I stumbled onto that, I had to go to the oracles to confirm it, and the oracles did confirm it. And I went to a priest and had to confirm it too. I was very doubtful. And the one thing, when I look back at my life, it all made sense because Benjamin Banneker loved insects. He loved astronomy. I had a love for astronomy. I loved insects. He loved clocks. I love clocks, especially grandfather clocks. So there was a lot of things that were parallel to our lives. And I remember there being a building next to our building. We live in an apartment up in New York. And I would look out my window and I would see this building next to ours. And I always wondered what it was. And I had to pass that building on my way to work. And one day I decided to just take a detour and go look at the building close up. And I even think I made a video, one video there. And what shocked me was that it was Benjamin Banneker Junior High School. And I was taken aback. And I was like, whoa, if this is not an indication of me seeing the fruits of my labor from a past life, I don't know what is. So that was an indication to me clearly of what we would call with synchronicity and how your past lives catch up to your present. But let's take this further, right? So in addition to loving insects and astronomy and things of that nature, Benjamin Banneker worked on a tobacco farm. Now, my parents noticed something very odd about me, that I had a big, big fear of tobacco, cigarettes, cigars. It really bothered me from a young age to the point of where I was almost paralyzed in the company of any type of cigarettes or cigars. It would really just paranoid me. I was just paralyzed. Didn't like people smoking around me. If I stepped on a cigarette, I had to go wash my foot. Even though I had my shoes on, I still had to wash my foot. And I began to realize that this came from my experience on a tobacco farm and just not liking it and it bothering me a whole lot. All right. So when I got older and got into tech and became a project manager, I remember the country going through like a recession or something. There was something that was going on. There weren't jobs were scarce. And my recruiter called me and she says, I have something for you. It's working with a very good agency, Times Square, 42nd Street. You're going to be doing a lot of creative projects. It's going to be very exciting for you. And so I went and I interviewed. And I remember not getting a job. And then getting a call saying, they want you now. And I went back and I talked to the guy who would be for what you would call my supervisor. And I asked him, like, I thought you guys didn't want me. He goes, well, we did, to be honest with you, we did have someone else in mind, but they got another opportunity. So we went with you, which was our second candidate. So my job was very, very, how would you say, specific and narrow in terms of what I was supposed to be doing. And it wasn't hard at all. It was fun, actually. And it afforded us some travel, so I could travel and do some really interesting things. But one of the things that came up that was a crossroad for me was they just had gotten a big account, which would bring them a lot of money, the company. And the recruiter called me, and they always had this account, but I guess this account had something like a new brand they were releasing. So they were going to pay the ad agency a bunch of money to market this brand. And I remember getting the recruiter calling me, and she says, oh my God, I forgot to ask you something, Qesankh. I said, what is that? She says, do you have any problem working with alcohol and tobacco products? And I was like, yes, I do. She says, oh, we've got a problem then because you already started work there. I should ask you that. What do you want to do? So I told her, just forget about it for now. I'll work through this. Not understanding the depth and the breadth of what I was getting into. Some deep stuff here. So as the days progressed, I'm working on their website and we're doing some really cool, exciting stuff. I get called into a conference meeting where they actually explain the ad agency's client and what the client is about, which is making cigarettes and selling them. So this bothered me. And here I was sitting there just freaking out, thinking about this now. I'm like, oh my God, I'm indirectly working for a tobacco company. That is not what I had imagined for my life. And I knew I could just leave, but it would be a little bit of a time before I could get something else. And I was already being paid well, and I had established friendships there. So I was like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? I said, well, I'm not working directly for the tobacco company. It's just one of their clients. We'll see how this goes. You know, knock on wood, no, things got deeper. So they called me, and they were the home office of this tobacco company. I'm not going to go into the details of where they were located. And they asked me to fly out there because they had wanted to propose some technical changes to the website. And I was like, oh, you want me to fly out there? Okay. So I had just flown to Boston. So I was going to fly out and then speak with the corporate executives at this tobacco company. I went into the woman's office and I sat there, me and my lead developer, because I'm just a project manager. I'm not into the technical aspects. And I'm talking to her about the problem they're having. And then my lead developer, thank God, brings this up. He says, listen, when we meet with your executive staff, please don't smoke in the room. And she says, I can't prevent that, but I can let them know. And I was so glad that he brought that up. So we go and meet with them in this executive room, which is really big. And all the execs are there. And lo and behold, everyone's smoking. The room is full of smoke. It is the most disgusting and terrible thing I could get myself involved with. I'm sitting there and there's smoke everywhere. And they're asking technical questions and asking how could they build certain things. And I just couldn't stop thinking about how every one of them was a chain smoker. And I was like, well, at least they're not hypocrites and selling this and not using the product. You know what I mean? I was like, wow. And lo and behold, the woman who was said that she would talk to him about not smoking was the biggest chain smoker in the room. So that night we all went out to dinner and we talked, we got to know each other, and that's pretty much how things wrapped up. But after that, I gave some serious consideration as to if I wanted to stay with the company or not. Well, that decision was made for me. I didn't have to make that decision. And I'm going to tell you what happened. So one day I come in and I walk into the office and every single desk is cleaned out. There's no one there and there's no equipment, no computers, no lights, no nothing. It was cleaned out. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, am I in the right office? What's going on here? So I'm walking all over the office and through the different rooms, and it was just everything was cleaned out. So I had no idea what was going on. So I sat there for about an hour and a half until someone else showed up, which was the IT manager. And he comes, really good guy. He came to me and he said, "Hey, Qesankh, they're about to, the boss is going to come in a bit and he's going to address all of us." I said, "All of who?" You know, so a little more people came in, and the boss came and addressed us and said that most of the staff went off and started their own company. They left and started their own company. And I was like, are you kidding me? You mean they just took everything and started their own company? Well, lo and behold, you can go online and see the launch of their website and see photos of them in their new office. And so it was one or two of the higher ups that decided to do this. And they took most of the staff, including the secretary, with them. And I was like, well, why didn't they ask me? And it turned out that they were going to start, I don't know why they thought about this. They wanted to focus on print and not digital, even though we all know digital is the future. So I'm like, really? Really? So anyway, the head of the company assured us that, you know, things would get better and, but things did not get better. There was a long time before they could rehire staff and get things going. So it was a very, very interesting time. But, I ended up moving on and finishing my contract to another company, which was the most awesome company ever. I went to the company like almost a week after I left the other company. And they had this thing where everybody skateboarded around. So I got me a skateboard, and I was skateboard. And they had this other thing, which was very peculiar. All the women were very, very pretty. And I was like, what are they hiring models here? What's going on? Why are these women so like, and I was there. And typical what happens with me, and I'm not kidding you, this is a consistent theme with every agency I go to. Some guy who's gay falls in love with me. Now I got to deal with that. And I'm like, why is this every time I go to an agency, this happens? I was like, am I giving off gay vibes? Like, I don't know. I don't understand why this is happening. And it happened after. And when I left that company, I went to another company. It happened again. Guy comes up to me and asks me to go out. And I'm like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? I don't play for your team. I'm sorry. I love women, beautiful women, rich women, powerful women, sexy women, I don't know if it's because I'm so pretty. I don't know if it's because I'm soft-spoken, but it just happens every company I go to. But anyway, my point in saying this, my point is, you have many lifetimes that are going on simultaneously. You see, the idea that your past life is in the past is a left brain linear idea that comes out of Western civilization. There is no past, there is no future, there's only a now moment, the present. So all your lives converge onto what I call the singularity, and you're experiencing all of your lives now. So I always wondered why, and I told this story before, I decided to get into tech. When I went to a priestess and she did this really accurate reading, it was the most accurate reading I've ever gotten in my life. She was on point. I was like, wow. She told me how many kids I were going to have, who I would marry. It was really good. So she said, you had a past life in Atlantis. It's a very advanced civilization. That means you're going to get into tech in this lifetime. And I was like, really? That's deep. That's deep. So she went into what happened in Kemet, Egypt. And now I think about this, I got to find that woman again because she was so accurate. It was really strange. And she explained what happened in Egypt and what happened, why. Now, in ancient Kemet, I was a warrior priest, and I got betrayed by a group of people. Now, she called me like the wounded warrior. I got betrayed and hurt because I was trying to start a revolution. And now, what I find is I encounter these people whatever company I go to. There's always one or two people who tend to want to backstab me or say things about me. And I've come to realize that they are from my past life in ancient Kemet. And that I will continue to encounter these people until I can resolve the issue. You see what I'm saying? So, point it out again. In ancient Kemet, which it's going on right now, I was betrayed by a group. That betrayal left me wounded emotionally. And now when I go through organizations, political organizations, companies, even in college, I would encounter specific people who for no reason didn't like me and would backstab me and would say vicious things about me. Those are the people who betrayed me in ancient Kemet. So I want you to understand that the issues and problems that are going on in your lifetime now, in this life now, it's coming from a past life, one of your past lives, because you have so many. You understand? But see, we are so ignorant as a people. We don't understand how to look at things in a holistic, whole brain perspective. Someone doesn't like you and you can't figure it out why. Why don't this person like me? Well, then examine your past life. What happened? But we are not taught to do that. You understand? We are not taught to do that. Why does this child have a fear of lights? Because something happened in that child's past life. But these so-called psychologists we call have all the answers. They don't. Why is it that you can't hold on to money? Look at your past life. Why is it that Bill Gates has all this money? Look at his past life. One note before I continue. We had the early bird special for my program, the 6-Figure PM. If you're interested in making a 6-figure salary, become a digital project manager. And today I've decided to extend the early bird special so you can still sign up at a low price for the early bird special, but it only lasts another 48 hours. So sign up for the 6-Figure PM. It's about 5 to 6 weeks of training, and then I give you a recruiter, and a recruiter will work with you to find a job, a 6-figure job. So you'll work with ad agencies and the most awesome companies. It's all creative. You don't need any technical experience or any certification or any degree. It was the best thing I could have did with my life in upgrading my salary and upgrading my friends and upgrading my career. I want to reveal to you a secret. And I want you to understand this. Because the world doesn't work the way you think it does. They have to put on and I mean the ruling elite, they have to put on a facade in terms of how the world operates. Do you understand? In terms of how the world operates. Because if they didn't, you would discover this science. And you would utilize it for your benefit. See, the Buddha, whenever there's a new Dalai Lama, they look for him in a reincarnated soul or reincarnated child. The reason that we're able to build the pyramids and accumulate such a vast knowledge of information is because we knew that when someone would study, let's say, for example, Diva D would study engineering, and she would reach the height of her career in engineering. When she passed on, we would look for her in the next born child. And then if the oracles confirmed that that was the reincarnation of Diva D, we would then put her in engineering school where she can continue her studies and take the subject matter to new heights. The ruling elite knows how this science works. They have practiced it and masters of it. You ever wonder why? Why wasn't I born into money? Why couldn't I be born into the ruling elite bloodline? Why this? Why couldn't I have been president? You'll never be president. And why this and why that? That is because they lock down the soul transference. So in other words, when their bloodline has been continued from ancient Kemet all the way down, because they call it the fall of Kemet, which really wasn't the fall of Egypt. They had Egypt fall, yes, but Egypt continued, or the knowledge continued in what we call as underground civilizations, shadow governments. And if you don't understand that, go see the movie Godzilla versus Kong, where they reveal this. See, Hollywood sometimes will tell you the truth. Go see Godzilla versus Kong. Parallel civilizations with advanced technology. They are the masters of the occult, and they know how to pull your soul from your body. Do you understand what I'm saying? They know how to pull your soul from your body. They know that when you die and you're part of their bloodline, they can have you reincarnated back again into the same bloodline. They know how to do that. So the wealth and the knowledge will always stay contained within their group, within their bloodline. They have mastered the power of reincarnation. When a member of their set dies, say for example, Bill Gates, they will go to their own oracles and find out through which female he'll be reborn through in their organization, underground organization. And sometimes they will purposely pregnate women so that these women will have babies at the exact moment of a death of somebody, or cause that person to death, sacrifice them so that person can be reborn into this particular woman. They have mastered this science. So you will never have an opportunity to be born into the top 1% of the wealthiest or among their ranks, because your soul will always seek to reincarnate through your ancestral lineage. Do you get it? And they even, here's a secret, will prop up certain individuals and give those individuals certain technology to make it seem like these individuals invented it. And make these individuals billionaires. And you think these people came up from obscurity and created this website platform that now has billions of followers? No, these people were appointed and assigned and crafted. But you were told they're just coming from obscurity. Oh, so-and-so went to MIT and they created this platform that now is worth billions. No, they didn't come from MIT. They came from your bloodline. You gave them that technology. They didn't just write that code. I'm giving secrets away here, people. Donate to the channel if you're in a position to do so, please. And hit the like button. A lot of you don't hit the like button enough. So stop envying certain people in the establishment. I want to be like so-and-so. He's a billionaire. Well, do you understand how that person got to where they are? They're part of a bloodline. They've been reincarnated in that bloodline, and they will keep being reincarnated in that satanic bloodline. You'll never reach their level of influence and power. You will never. You're not part of that ancestral heritage. You're not part of that bloodline. It's an evil, corrupt bloodline. I want you to understand that. It's very important for you to understand how they have achieved success. These so-called individuals that come out of nowhere, and you may even notice that they're entertainers or rap artists, or the wealthiest among the wealthy stock market investors, and they're set up to make it seem as if they worked hard to get to where they are, but that's not true. And they are building wealth and wealth and wealth to fund the shadow government, to fund the second civilization. And this civilization hidden from your sight has the most advanced equipment you can imagine. What they have is so advanced that what you see in Star Wars and Star Trek pales in comparison to how advanced they are. They staged the landing on the moon. The footage you saw, it's not real. It's all staged. But they did that to give you the idea of technological progression. But the country at the time didn't have the technology to get to the moon, but the underworld civilization did. It still does. So there are two parallel civilizations going on. One that lives in the Dark Ages, that is us. One that lives with advanced high technology, which was taken from ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. You see, we have got to get history straight. I was on an internet program where I was talking last week to the viewers about pendulums and ergobores and how they transfer culture and ideas, and these ideas become thought viruses. People thought I was talking high physics. They had no clue as to what I was saying, because we are so in the dark when it comes to higher knowledge. Something as simple as understanding herbivores and how they are responsible for behavior through remote control is too advanced for people to comprehend. But yet it explains so much about why people act in the way they do and how cultures spread throughout the world. Our history is not what they tell us. Our history is that this underground civilization, before it became underground, destroyed every advanced civilization. Mayan culture, Chinese culture, ancient Egypt, Atlantis. They destroyed all of those purposely. And then they went underground. And then they left us in the dark ages to pick up the pieces. Let me be quiet before I say too much. I'm not going to go any further. Because number one, we're not ready for this. And number two, I'm not going to say any more that will which will put me above the radar, or on the radar is a term. Do the research yourself. Understand our history. Understand your power as God man, God woman. Understand that you have had many, many lives. And they're going on simultaneously right here and now in what we call the singularity. And that the career that you're in now is most likely because of a past life. The amount of money that you earn now is probably because of the past life. If you're a millionaire now, you've done certain things to set that up to benefit off that from your past life. If you're having a hard time with that, then it's a problem you had in your past life as well. And you must resolve it so you can end it and move on with your life. So your next life and this life will be good. If you ignore that problem and don't fix it, it'll cause you obstacles and obstructions, sekert in this life and then the next life. But if you resolve it, Sebek will open, or Anubis will open the way toward your success. And Ma'at will grant you wealth. Diva, they don't want the cycle to be broken or interrupted. They don't want it to be. And the cycle is broken by you becoming Osir. And when you become Osir, when you go into the hall, the great hall of Ma'ati, and you face Ma'at, Tahuti, and Osir, they're going to ask you, do you want to go back to Earth and help guide souls? Or do you want to stay in the inner planes? You'll be given a choice. You'll break the cycle that way. But you must become Osir. And it takes many lifetimes to become Osir. But the ruling elite don't want you to become Osir. They want you to be a slave to this third density satanic world that we live in. They need you as a slave. They don't need you as a sage. They don't need you as a seer. They don't need you as a shaman, Shah woman. They killed most of them. We praise Imhotep, but Imhotep was common. There were many multi-geniuses in ancient antiquity. That was nothing new. Do you understand? You want to create a race of geniuses? Find out who's good in their field, music, science. And then when they pass on find them in the rebirth process, and then put them back into the same subject matter. And then in 1 or 2 generations, we'll be traveling to nearby solar systems. That's how advanced our technology will improve. That's having a holistic view on life, an understanding of cycles, the Qesankh, death, rebirth, death, rebirth, a cycle that continues to happen, death, rebirth, death, rebirth. You will keep coming back. And then when they would look for you to be born through the womb of a woman, they would work with you to remind you about the things that you did in your past life so you could bring back your memory, so you could remember. That's why Isis, the symbol for her is memory, trance state. You would be assisted in understanding the tools that you used in your past life. Qesankh, remember this pen? When you were Benjamin Banneker, you used this pen. You created an equation to calculate the seasons and you put it in an almanac. Do you remember, Qesankh? And I'd be like, oh yeah. Qesankh, now write the equation. We want you to write it from memory. You can do it. You can do it. And I'm like, okay. And I write the equation. And then I write another equation. And then I take that science to the next level. I come back 6 years from now and say, I wrote an equation for us to get to Saturn. You see? The knowledge is passed on from rebirth, from incarnation to incarnation to incarnation. The science of understanding the financial market and finances is passed on by the ruling elite so they can always be wealthy. They're not billionaires. The ruling elite, they are gazillionaires. They are gazillionaires. They own so much wealth, it is disgusting. It'll make you throw up. You will never see them. You'll never hear them. They will always stay hidden in the shadow government. Because they have to keep this world in darkness. They have to keep you ignorant. And if they expose themselves, it's game over. What would it be like to turn on the news and find out that they found a flying hovercraft that can fly from here to the moon, that has been invented by scientists who live at the center of the earth? You would be shocked, right? You would want answers. You want to demand what is going on. You'd be like, well, what the hell? You mean you had cures for cancer? Hovercrafts? Phasers? Warp drive? Think back to Black Panther, what they were trying to tell you in the movie. What did Killmonger say? My people were enslaved, and you had all this technology that could have freed them? He had a right to be upset. Hollywood is telling you something in these movies, people. It's telling you something. William, that's a good question. And let me answer that by saying this. Most often, what you are doing now in terms of your career, your habits, your likes, your dislikes, your fears are the same thing you did in your past life. You're just repeating them because your instinctual behavior transfers over from life to life. If you like rice pudding in your past life, you're probably eating it in this life. If you were a mechanic in your past life, you're more than likely doing something in mechanics in this life. Because you come back, you're reincarnated into something that's familiar to you. This is why you can never come back into the body of an alien, because it's not familiar to you. So you come back and reincarnate it to something that's familiar. So always keep that in mind. Take a look, take an audit of what you're doing now. Even the region that you were born in, wherever you were born in, California, I don't know, Kentucky, most likely you've been in around that region in your past life because you tend to come back to what's familiar. You understand? Picking up new skills in your lifetime. That happens all the time. Some people don't pursue the same thing. They don't. They could have been a carpenter in their past lifetime, and this lifetime they're a secretary. That happens because this life doesn't teach you how to pick up and go and follow what you did in your past life, and you will be good at it if you did. So we have no conscious awareness of what we did in our past, so we end up doing something really the wrong thing for us in this lifetime. So anyway, I have to go. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I want you to understand that you have many, many lives. You just didn't have one life. You had many, many lives. And you have to find out which one you're connecting with at this present moment that is strongest and that's influencing you the most. And then start to do the research from there. I want to thank you all for tuning in. This is Qesankh Ma Keperu, son of Ma and Tahuti. Ma is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Till my next video, Amun Ra.